I mean, just be prepared for next week to also be a 2-hour-long podcast, because we will probably be spending at least an hour and a half breaking down this fucking card.
Probably, man.
Back-to-back bangers, my guy.
Yep.
Back-to-back bangers. I am so excited. Back-to-back pay-per-view caliber cards. Thank you, Dana White. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is phenomenal. This is incredible. In UFC 268 is set in Madison Square Garden, one of the biggest stages you can be on. You have KAMARU Usman versus Colby Covington headlining this. The rematch is on. KAMARU Usman 19-1 versus 16-2. Colby Covington. Tabor, what are your thoughts about this fight? And kind of just break it down for me. Where are you feeling on this?
I'm going to be honest. I agree. I mean, we've talked about this a lot coming into this. Like, you know, it's a very highly anticipated matchup that we've been looking forward to. The MMA community has been looking forward to. You know, I think a lot of people are coming in just knowing. I mean, let's look at the odds. KAMARU Usman is coming in at -300 to a +240, and Colby Covington. A lot of people are thinking Marty's going to go in there and smoke him. And I understand why. One, KAMARU's been the more active fighter. Look at his last few fights. He's been finishing guys on the feet. People were saying he was a boring fighter. All he did was wrestle, hump, and fuck for the longest time. But now he's knocking dudes out. He knocked out the best boxer in the division. He knocked out Gilbert Burns, who's got fantastic striking. And I think he knocked out Jorge Masvidal's foot in that first fight. So, you know.
With those toe stomps.
The toe stomps. Remember how pissed off we were? Yeah. We're like, what the fuck is this shit? I can't believe they're making this rematch. We're going to see foot stomps all over again. And then they banged and he knocked him the fuck out.
First time in his career that he's been knocked out. First time he's been flatlined like that too. And what a knockout, man. I'm telling you, that knockout wasn't, that's like what, I know I always go back to it, but like that slow-mo, and you see the just sweat fly off Jorge Masvidal's face in slow motion. It was so fucking cool. What a moment in the sport.
Yeah. And then you got Colby. He fucking knocked out Tyron Woodley's rib.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, like a lot of people are using that as a negative. He's only fought one time. He fought a washed-up Woodley, which is, you know, I agree with. He did fight once, and Woodley, you know, he's not the Woodley of old. It is what it is there. But to think that Colby Covington has zero chance in that fight, I just don't think that's very accurate. The first fight, not only was it one of the most, I know it's been bugging me all fucking time.
Bro,
it's been flying right in front of my face this whole time. I know, I'm trying to ignore it. But to that first fight, one of the greatest fights of all time. It's got to be on the list, right?
Yeah.
Top 10 at the very least. I'd say top 8.
That fight is wild, and that's a fight I've watched many times.
I just went back and rewatched it.
And, you know, I understand whatever some judges had 3-1. I had 2-2 going into that fifth, man. And
so one judge had 3-1 Colby going into the fifth, and one judge had 3-1 KAMARU going into the fifth, and then the last and third and final judge had 2-2 going into the fifth. And then Colby put it on in that early parts of the fifth round. I mean, if that fight went decision, I was leaning Colby Covington in that fight. He was on his way to becoming the welterweight champion of the world, but the champ did what the champ does. Finish the man. Legitimate finish. I understand why Colby was making some very, very controversial statements about Mark Goddard afterwards. He was very unhappy with some of the way those situations went down with like the nut kick. And he was talking about the eye pokes, but he did poke him in the eye. Those are real. Those are legitimate. And I agreed with the stoppage. It is what it is there.
It is what it is.
But I think Colby Covington is actually developing his game. I think he's actually training, and I think he, like, you know, Zach Lacey and Gideon was saying it on the podcast, Fight Companion. Go check that out, guys. Obviously, Colby has been training this whole time, and he's had like almost a year to just focus on one person, KAMARU Usman. Can Colby Covington devise a plan to squeak out a victory and possibly outstrike or maybe even out-wrestle KAMARU Usman? I would say possibly yes. But as men do, we have to think on a balance of probabilities and not possibilities. What's more probable? That KAMARU Usman's going to go in there and knock him out in the third, or that Colby Covington's going to out-wrestle him or out-point him for 5 rounds? Probabilities on Usman, man. It is what it is there. I think Usman's evolved that much. I don't see Colby outstriking him. Do you?
Oh, absolutely not. And see, this is where you and I disagree. I lean very much towards the evolution and development of Kamaru Usman, as I've said time and time again on this podcast, has far surpassed anything that we saw between these two fighters in that first fight. I've seen so much growth in Kamaru Usman, and I really can't say I've seen a ton of growth in Colby Covington. Now, is that to say that he hasn't grown? Is that to say he hasn't become a better fighter? No, I'm not saying that.
It's just saying that Kamaru's been more active, so we have more to work with here.
Yes, and we have more to see. And I don't see anyone even competing with Kamaru Usman in a real tangible way right now. I mean, we all thought that Gilbert Burns fight was going to be his biggest test, right? And then the Jorge Masvidal rematch, we're like, oh, it's going to be a snoozer. Kamaru Usman knocks out a guy who's never been knocked out in UFC history or in the course of his career. And I just think now with this rematch, I think Kamaru Usman is going to go out there and I think he will finish Colby Covington again. I think he's going to do it sooner. And I think you're really going to see why this man is the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. And I do not see this belt. I really believe Kamaru Usman will go out there and retain his belt. I believe it. And I believe it more than I believe in Colby Covington's ability. Does Colby deserve to be there? Absolutely. He's one of the best welterweights in the world. And I think if Kamaru Usman wasn't in the UFC, I think Colby Covington damn well would be the champion right now. But you got one thing standing in front of you, and that's Kamaru Usman. And like just the mentality, this guy's got the toughest mindset I've ever seen in this sport. Like he reminds me so much of Michael Jordan, where it's like he might even like you as a person. Like look at Gilbert Burns, his training partner, but he had to come up with reasons why. I don't like this guy because of this or because he chews gum funny or whatever it is. And that motivates him to win fights. I'm telling you, he's got the toughest mentality I've seen. I'm going Kamaru Usman. I think he's going to finish Colby Covington in the 4th round.
4th round?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. So do you think it's not going to be another instant classic? It's probably one-sided fight in your opinion? Do you think it's going to be domination or do you think...
No, I do not. Yeah, no. I want to put some respect on Colby Covington's name. And I do, but again, as I said, like if Kamaru Usman wasn't there, he'd be the champ. So I don't think it's going to be dominant. I don't think Kamaru is just going to completely outclass him. I think Colby will land his strikes. I think he'll utilize maybe some of that wrestling, maybe some dirty boxing up against the cage. I definitely see that as a possibility. But as the fight goes on, Kamaru evolves. He studies his opponents. You can really see him studying his opponents. That jab has been absolutely unbelievable. I think it's going to wear on Colby Covington. Kamaru Usman's a lot better at going to the body now. I think that's just going to take its toll on Colby Covington. And I think he's going to get tired. He's going to get gassed, and Kamaru will finish him in the 4th round. But I do see this fight being super entertaining, and I think it'll be set to be an instant classic again. I really do.
Really?
Yes, I don't think
this is not. This is not the take I thought you were going to say.
No, I don't think it's going to be like a complete, a Chimaev situation, like just to bring that up, where it's like, oh, Kamaru takes him down and just beats the living piss out of him for 2 rounds and wins. No, I really don't. I think this will be a competitive fight, but it'll be competitive up into a point. I think Usman does win this fight. I won't say dominant, but I'll say handedly. I think he wins on the judge's scorecard. If it does go to decision, I see Kamaru winning 4 out of 5 rounds. If it were to.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
So just outpoint and be more technical. And, you can't make an argument that he's not. I mean, look at the way he's evolved with Trevor Whitman. Ever since he's gone to Trevor Whitman, man, this has been a new Usman.
Yeah, it's been literally the best thing for his career.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like you said, the jab, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And he's got so much power even behind that jab. Like that jab is stiff. Probably one of the best jabs in the UFC, other than maybe a Rob Font. You can make arguments that maybe Usman's jab is better. It's fantastic. I mean, he knocked out Gilbert Burns with it. So I can't wait for this fight. I agree with you. I think it's going to be more competitive than people think. I think a lot of people are not giving Colby even a slightest bit of a chance. And I think a lot of people are thinking they're going to bet the house on Usman. Would I be shocked if Colby somehow got the victory? No. I think it's going to be competitive. But I am also agreeing with you. I'm leaning Usman. I think he's going to be a 3rd round finish, probably TKO. What I want to see some wrestling. I want to see, can Colby Covington push Usman up against the fence, pin him up? Can he grind him into the fence like he did RDA? Can he do that? Because that might be his best route to victory. But Usman's defensive wrestling is fucking fantastic. Some of the best in division. His wrestling is some of the best in division. Who is the best wrestler in the world? And I think that's what I want to find out with this fight. That's what everyone thought was going to happen in the first fight. Didn't happen. They stood and banged the entire time. Yeah. Everyone was expecting a wrestling match. I kind of hope that this is the wrestling match we get. Will it be entertaining if that's what we get? Probably not. It's probably not what people are going to want to see.
No.
But
especially if they watch the first. You know what? I hate to do this, but I love it because we're fans of the sport, so we got to talk about it, okay? And again, you guys know Leon Edwards is my boy. I really want him to get the next shot, but we got to talk about it, okay? Because you guys are all saying there's a chance, and I do believe.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance, and I do believe. Like, in all seriousness, again, Colby Covington is the second best welterweight in the world right now. I really do believe that. I think he's a great fighter, and he does have a chance. Again, I think KAMARU USMAN wins that fight. But let's say in this alternate universe, Colby Covington wins this fight Saturday. It's an instant classic, 4 or 5 rounds. Chaos ensues. Do you do the immediate rematch since KAMARU Usman has defended his belt so many times?
Yes.
You have to.
Immediately.
And I hate saying it. I hate
Leon's
saying
just
it
like,
because Leon's like, he's like, how many more fucking people do I have to beat? Because, you know, if he goes out there and beats Jorge Masvidal. Now, I'll ask you this. Would you finally, Tabor, be okay if Leon Edwards went out there and beat Jorge Masvidal and then they decided to do the trilogy? If Usman were to lose that fight, would you be okay if Leon Edwards like, okay, look, I've won 10 in a row. I'm just going to wait for this trilogy to set forth and then I get the next shot. Would you be okay with that?
Yes, but is Dana okay with that? I don't fucking know. It's like,
I know. It's
you know,
like,
is
God.
the UFC okay with that? They're like, Leon beat Jorge Masvidal, who just came off a title shot loss. Not good enough. Not good enough. Oh, you see Hamza Chimaev over there? That's my guy. Why don't you fight him again? Leon's like, you motherfuckers.
I know. But we'll see. We'll see this Saturday. But if that does happen, we will definitely have to talk about that nonstop on a recap next week. But nonetheless, very much looking forward to this fight. I really think it's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, can't wait.
Great main event.
Can't wait. Fantastic main event. I'm going to make my pick right now. You have 3,000. Did you make your church coin pick?
Yes, I did.
So 3,000?
I'm putting 3,000 on KAMARU Usman for the win here. At a minus 300, that'll give me a return of 1,000 church coin. I know. I already know what you want to do, Tabor. You want to put money on Colby, so just put money on Colby. Just make it interesting. You got 18,000 fucking church coin. You got a few to blow.
8,000 church coin on Colby Covington. Fuck it. Why not?
Shitting me?
At a plus 240. I reserve my right to change my pick before the fight companion.
But if you hit dude, if you hit that, it's a wrap for the year, bro. It's a wrap for the year.
Why not?
Wow.
Why not? I've seen crazier shit happen. Why not? Fuck it. I'll change my pick probably right during the fight. I'm leaning Usman. I think Usman's going to win the fight.
Incredible.
I don't know. Fuck it. Let's make it fun. Let's make it fun.
Why
All
not?
in on Colby. No, I'm just joking.